Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we will be taking a look at the latest news surrounding Kaspa, as well as having a look at the technical price action and how that coincides with the rest of the market. If you do enjoy the video, please hit that like button, and to keep up to date with whenever I post, subscribe with bell notifications on. Before we dive into Kaspa, we first need to take a look at the wider market and particularly major volatility that we have been seeing with Bitcoin over the past week. Recently we've been seeing a lot of fear growing in the space, so I thought today I would alleviate and explain some of those recent concerns. So, in about the last 5 days, rather bizarrely, the German government decided that they would sell $75 million worth of Bitcoin to exchanges like Kraken, Coinbase and Bitstamp. After that short sell-off, they were still left with around 40,000 BTC, by the way, so they are still very major holders of Bitcoin. The strange thing is, just a couple days later, a surprising reversal took place and Germany began to buy back 1,915 Bitcoin, worth over $115 million. Following this bizarre maneuver, a German member of parliament, Joanna Kotar, made it clear that she believed that the original sell-off was lacking in long-term vision, as she highlighted the idea that it appeared like the government was lacking in clear strategy, particularly by choosing to do these trades directly to the markets via exchanges rather than OTC. She also speculated that the initial sell-off may have been as Germany is undergoing massive shortfalls in their budget right now, as well as the fact that they have an upcoming election. Either way, this was one of the major factors that contributed to the massive volatility that we saw in last week's Bitcoin price action. In addition to Germany, another factor for the downward pressure on the market recently was the news surrounding Mt. Gox. This was a major crypto exchange that actually collapsed in 2014 and just recently announced that they would be repaying their customers who had lost money. Currently, Mt. Gox holds around $8.4 billion worth of Bitcoin, which has caused some fears to grow in the community as people are speculating that they will soon be selling a considerable amount of their holdings to repay their customers. In turn, this has resulted in a greater fear about Bitcoin's latest price movements, which has ultimately rocked the market and contributed to the volatility that was already caused by Germany selling their holdings. However, despite that, in terms of the Bitcoin ETFs, since there has been this growing downward pressure on the market as fear and uncertainty grows, the ETFs were very quick to snap up the Bitcoin at the cheaper price ranges on Friday, and we have seen inflows slightly rise since the 5th of July. This is a good sign as it shows that the ETFs are taking the steps to buy Bitcoin at this cheaper price, also consequently suggesting that they might think that Bitcoin won't go that much lower, so they're taking advantage of these discounted rates. With all this volatility regarding Bitcoin, it does however pave the way for a mini altcoin season, and there's a lot of both technical and fundamental news which could suggest this. Firstly, let's have a look at it from a technical perspective. Altcoin season is when Bitcoin loses its dominance over the entire crypto market and altcoins, so coins other than Bitcoin, gain a greater share of the total crypto market cap size. Right, so here's a chart dating back to 2014 of Bitcoin's dominance of the crypto market. As you can see, the vertical scale on the right hand side depicts the percentage of Bitcoin in the market, and the horizontal scale suggests that over time. In 2017, we had a major altcoin season where Bitcoin dropped from 98% to 34% dominance. And then, in 2021, Bitcoin dropped from 73% to 38% market dominance. And now, in 2024, we can see that Bitcoin has hit this area of resistance in its dominance, and very soon we could be seeing its next free fall downwards, and therefore another altcoin season. Another interesting chart that I found is created by Steph Crypto, and this one represents the altcoin dominance, excluding Bitcoin, as well as excluding the top 10. So pretty much every single crypto outside of the top 10. As you can see, the current dominance is hopefully bouncing off this lower support band as it holds near to the same level as the highs of 2017. Therefore, as you can see from this prediction, it could signify a bullish movement that is soon to come with the altcoins outside of the top 10 as they grow in dominance. Although I do find it important to mention that this is just speculation, and I never rely heavily on this kind of speculative technical analysis, as it can often be incorrect or not take into account every single factor. But in fairness, it is still nice to see some bullish signals that are present for the altcoin season potentially unfolding relatively soon. This altcoin bullishness could be prompted by fundamental news such as new ETFs that are on their way, specifically for Ethereum, which is expected to begin trading within the next 2 weeks. On top of that, Solana just got its first ETF filing that emerged recently with Van Eck, who are one of the institutions that have a Bitcoin ETF spot listing ongoing. Likely, BlackRock, Vanguard, and others will shortly make a decision about requesting the Solana ETF soon as well. And who knows, maybe we could see even more ETFs for other coins on the way very soon too. In my last video, in fact, I did talk about the fact that both BlackRock and Vanguard were the biggest shareholders of Marathon Digital Holdings, and therefore with the news of Marathon mining Kaspa, there's no doubt that those two major investment institutions will now have Kaspa on their radar, which, who knows, could result in a Kaspa ETF filing soon, which would be unbelievably bullish, but we will just have to wait a little bit longer as the likelihood is that won't be for a while, particularly since none of the tier 1 exchanges have even spot listed Kaspa yet. Right, now moving on to look a little bit closer at Kaspa itself. There is no doubt that for now, this recent uneasy Bitcoin movement has created some uncertainty across the market, and the fear-greed index is at its lowest point since October last year, meaning that investors are beginning to paper hand out as fear grows. I do strongly believe, however, that we are currently experiencing a bear trap. This is where fear is heightened and people are believing that the cycle is already over, which couldn't be further from the truth in my opinion. This chart here, shared by Cyclop on Twitter, shows the last 2 times that the fear-greed index was this low. As you can see, both times they were followed by major pumps, so history could repeat itself here with Bitcoin, and we could see a reversal soon once we have found that bottom. Remember, when you're investing, those that are greedy when others are fearful are the ones that make lots of money. Don't make the mistake of selling now and caving into the FUD. Remain patient and hold onto your bags tightly, and if you have the available cash to, this could be a great time to buy some more at these discounted prices. Despite all the recent volatility with Bitcoin, Kaspa has held up very well, and according to my 8-month fractal, we are still waiting for our next major pump up to the new all-time high, hopefully above 40 cents, which I believe could happen anytime very soon in July over the next couple of weeks, or perhaps next month in August latest. In fact, looking at the technical aspect of the price, we can see that Kaspa has formed this bullish flat-topped triangle, which is where our final resistance is before we break above it, and then it's moon time, and new major all-time high, here we come. As soon as we have a daily candle that closes considerably above that resistance line, we know that it is getting ready to pump a lot, so stay tuned as the next few weeks are going to be massive for Kaspa, particularly when you pair the technicals of the price chart with also the great fundamental news that we have been getting recently, including Marathon mining and Michael Saylor potentially buying it. If you don't know why those 2 recent news stories are extremely bullish for Kaspa, after you watch this, go and head over to my channel and watch my latest video. Also, while you're at it, only about 23% of you guys watching are actually subscribed, so it would mean a lot to me if you guys could hit that sub button and join our community. Since my last video, there has been an update regarding Marathon Digital Holdings, in fact. Robert Samuels, who is the Vice President of Investor Relations at Marathon Digital Holdings, made this tweet. He said that he hopes you're enjoying the dip and buying. We are, and then tagged Marathon. This is super bullish as it suggests that Marathon are not only just mining Bitcoin and Kaspa, but also increasing their own holdings by market buying it as well. Ultimately, this is super bullish as this is the biggest Bitcoin mining company in the entire world, and if they're buying Kaspa, they clearly see huge potential with it. It also suggests that Marathon have the same schooling of thought as the Bitcoin ETFs right now, that we are in this dip and soon we will not be able to take advantage of these super low and discounted cheap prices. So now is the time to get in and buy more while they still can. Moving on to a hash rate update, and wow, every time I make a new video, Kaspa's hash rate has flown up time and time again, which is incredibly bullish. Just take a look at this rising chart over the last week. Within the last few days, we recently hit a new all-time high of over 409 petahash per second. As I spoke about in my last video, I would not be surprised if this was directly correlated with Marathon's announcement. That's because obviously Marathon is a mining company, and it may have prompted other major mining institutions to divert some of their power towards mining Kaspa as well. Consequently, this is very bullish news for the security of the network and suggests continued growth in adoption. Now, in terms of the Rust migration, we are still not at 100% completion, but I'm sure very soon we will achieve it, and we are extremely close, so stay tuned for the latest updates regarding that. As for the KRC20, after the initial front-end issues from launch of the open beta, use of the KRC20 on beta was paused just for now, until those issues are resolved. Do not fear though, as Shai Deshi and Michael Sutton, two core Kaspa developers, said that Kaspa's mainnet is operating perfectly at the moment, even under loads upwards of 100 transactions per second without breaking a sweat at the moment. As well as that, the core consensus engine and nodes are working flawlessly, so the current issues with the KRC20 are simply external and front end, and should be fixed by their third parties very soon, which is great news. Ultimately, in my opinion, despite the recent bearish action with Bitcoin, Kaspa has been proving its worth since its inception and continues to make strides against Bitcoin. I thoroughly believe that Kaspa's next pump up will be very shortly, so make sure you have your bags packed, as this is probably going to be the last time you can ever buy Kaspa below 20 cents. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new, and for daily updates you can check me out on Twitter or X at TommyDoesCrypto. Anyway, that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.